I got criticized by a lot of people for my compost making. And of course, my argument is that, and I don't know where that, well, this is manure. All manure rots, all shit rots. I said, and who's the god of perfect compost? I want to meet who decided what perfect compost is. How did we decide that? Well, you say it can get too wet or it can be too dry. We can get some different bad organisms in it, but so we're very crude at this thing, I will have to admit. But see here, we used to take our bedding pad. This used to be a spot for hay. That's why there's lime fines and there's breaker rock and lime. This is a pad. And so there's a runoff that we got down there. So if there's any running off here, we were really dry. But see, we baled up some rye straw. And then if we look at, we got over there, we got our pastures. We baled up that pasture hay. That was, we batwing mow it down. We're going to do it again this year. And then that'll be our base for our compost. So we put the straw down, then we put chicken manure on. So this pile here, see, it's got more chicken manure on it because we got some manure mixed into this stuff here. We normally do about 1 ton to the acre. So it'll get rotted down fairly good, and we want it to get to 160 degrees. We want to kill all the pathogens, we want to kill the weed seeds, and we want to get rid of nitrogen. Now everybody says, what? Yeah, we grow clover for nitrogen. Raw chicken manure on our fields brings on a lot of weeds. I don't want to put raw chicken manure on the field, so that starts out at 4 to 5% nitrogen. When we get done, this will be 1% nitrogen. Now we got straw and we got hay. I don't know if we'll do straw again. We got hay over there to mix it in, so he'll then turn this until he'll start here, and usually we started around the first part of July, or once he gets done planting, he'll start here maybe in June, once we got more manure to bring here yet, and then he puts that on top, and then we'll start turning it, and he'll do it for about a month. And then we come along, if you look inside the shed, there's all kinds of bags inside here. We can walk over and show you that. So then when this gets turned a few times, he'll probably end up pushing 2 of them together at some point in time when they break down a little bit more. So then I buy a semi-load of elemental sulfur. Now I don't really like elemental sulfur. Now that's got bentonite with it. And then there's 5 tons of boron in this pile. So then we'll put on, so I mix it. There's about 40 pounds of sulfur per ton of compost and 1.5 pounds of actual boron. And I test it every year. We've been actually testing out fairly good. So again, it's a crude system of that's the only fertilizer we buy. That's the only thing. We get the manure in trade because we sell them corn, so we don't buy that. We got to pay for hauling it. And then we buy the sulfur and the boron. That's the only fertilizer that goes on our 1,500 acres. It's right there. And we got some left over from last year. And I got down here, I got some rock phosphate, and I bought a semi-load of sunflower ash. Most of our soils don't need anything. Except my trace mineral levels, boron and sulfur is something we always need. We've got about $100 a ton in the cost in making this stuff. And including sulfur and boron goes into it. So we got $100 a ton. So that there, he'll spread that, and we just got more of it. I wanted to save that because it's extra old, and I'll add some of that phosphorus and potassium because I want to do some work with those trees with Savannah Institute, so I'll make them a custom designer compost. To kill pathogens and weed seeds, you got to be about 160. Nickel measure temperatures in here. Some people say, oh, you get too high, you're going to get, you lose oxygen, you're going to have anaerobic digestion and all this. I don't know.
But then you don't have the weed problem.
We're mostly interested in cutting down. This will be 1/3 of what we got here, times 1,000 tons to start with. We'll end up with, well, we put 700 acres. He needs about 700 tons, a ton to the acre. So he'll probably, we start with 1,000. We got some left over from last year. So he's not interested in getting into the composting business, and we're not experts at it by any means. But it cuts the pile down. We got less to haul. It serves our purpose. It heats, gets hot enough. And it makes it so we can really spread a ton to the acre really easy. It'll be pretty nice stuff at the end. And see, last year our trouble was we turn it down in the springtime. It gets about that tall. It's about the 8th of May he turned it down. So it's a month coming up, 3 weeks. And then we wait a week and then we go one more time. And see, now when we plant this late, see, we plant in furrows, and then we'll have this will be broken down well enough. Last year we struggled cultivating because there's so many residues. It didn't rain to break down, but see that we didn't get a weed flush either. So this year we'll get that weed flush, and hopefully we'll plant now, and the corn will come up really fast. And we don't put anything on the plant. All we have is seeds. We farm in that 45-mile circle, and my son is not going to be hauling fertilizers or anything with him. I have got trials going on with seed treatments. I got 3 or 4 different companies that were mixing stuff with the seed as a seed treatment, biologicals and some some different things that really most of them are biologicals or plant protective compounds that are in that certain organisms that so we can, I know we don't normally, the corn comes up so fast, it's untreated seed, it's all organic seed that we plant.
You're going to turn it over again, or are you going to plant right in it?
Right now we're going to till it one more time, real shallow.
So you like to see that you like to see this weed emergence, because then when you till it again, it kind of knocks them back enough to.
So now we'll have a big sweep on a soil finisher kind of a thing. We got these big offset high-speed discs, and now we'll go through, it's 30 feet wide. So we only go 2 inches deep just to kill any kind of, all the weed seeds are going to come near the top. They're not coming from 4 inches deep. So we'll go through that, and then we plant in furrows. So he'll go through here, that 30 foot, he just tills right in front of the planter by about 5 hours in front of the planters doing the tillage. He'll start tilling, he's probably already tilling now by spring green, and my son will start about 4 o'clock this afternoon, start planting. So then come corn, after corn harvest, and of course we do this one over here. This was planted after corn last year. We got some spots where it went down.
So how do you establish if the corn gets harvested? Do you work the ground up again? But you guys, you get on UTVs and spread it with what?
We don't. Now the clover is spread in the spring with a seeder on his UTVs.
Yeah,
right?
One of those herd seeders.
No, he's got one that holds about 500 pounds.
Oh,
it's a big,
wow, on a UTV?
He's got a side-by-side.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see corn rows yet, so you can follow the patterns, or he likes to do it when there's a little bit of snow on the ground, frost seeding the end of February. This year he did the 3rd week in February, he frost seeded clover in here. And we used to drill in our rye. Now we've been dry, but see down in here, you can see the clover is coming. All the clovers are coming, and then see when we combine the rye, we're more interested in the clover crop that's coming than we are this rye. It lodged a little bit, that shouldn't hurt my clover, but see, we get 30 to 40 bushel rye. We only plant a bushel the acre of rye. And we don't put it in rows anymore. We got an air seeder in front of his tillage tool. So after the corn is harvested, we got shredder heads on the combine to shred the stalks. Then he comes through with his tillage tool, goes real shallow because we have cultivated, we've hilled it, levels that back out to get some dirt exposed, and then he'll put on about a bushel of rye per acre, following right behind the combine. The next day after he combine, he plants every day. He's all by himself here on this 700 acres of corn, you know, and so he has truckers to help him haul and does some help with some tillage in the spring. But this will all be planted with an air seeder, so it's not in rows anymore. And that's how we can get a thick uniform stand, because it's not in rows anymore.
So when do you harvest the rye?
The rye, well, normally it would be in about, last year, probably the middle of July.
Yeah, you're probably looking at the beginning of July or late June now?
Yeah, we might be, my son still thinks it'll be July. I hope it's not in June. We're not ready.
Yeah.
We got 25,000 bushel of rye. That's a lot of cover crop seed for a lot of people. And we got our own mill, so I got a cleaner going into the bin this year so we can sell it right directly out of the bin, and you can go plant it without having to go through a grain cleaner somewhere else. So I bought a unit that we're on a trail that we're going to put the rye in it before it goes in the bin. The only thing that's in our rye is some pieces of straw and chaff that got into it. There's no weed seeds or anything in it. So we got that I want to clean out so you can plant it pretty easy. We had guys plant it through air machines last year, and now this year I'll clean it better yet, so I don't have to cut my costs down.
I'll have to get some of that rye this fall.
Yeah, it comes out pretty clean. Now, my son is just going to take it right out of the bin. He's got his air seeder, and he blows it on with that air seeder to take it right out of the bin. Yeah, I like rye. It's a really incredible crop, and it's just so competitive, and it grows so well. Now, obviously, we had a little bit of lodging here, but like I said, this is the most lodging we've had, but it grew really well, and it got plenty tall. And that's why if you put it in rows and it gets thinner and closer together, more lodging. And then I had an intern here, and I kept saying to him, why is my clover in, we spin it on with a spinner, why is the clover in rows? He couldn't figure it out. I said, because the rye is in rows, and it can't grow where the rye is. So if we bulk spread this stuff, it doesn't have to be, one seed won't be laid on top of one another, and we should have less competition for the clover. But we're after the clover.